move to the motion before the House tonight, which is this House supports no platforming. And I look to Celeste McGinley, the third elected member of the Secretaries Committee, to open the case for the proposition tonight.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening to all of you who have come down tonight to engage in this exceptionally important debate. When the time card dropped some 2 weeks ago, there was a flurry of activity as members, commentators, and critics scrutinised the programme of events that Genevieve and the rest of committee had put on. An early point of contention and discussion was tonight's debate, and some of the speakers who we have here. I could see Genevieve very quickly was already having to defend some of the actions for tonight on her Facebook timeline. So I just want to take a moment now to thank the President for hosting this debate and let her know that this issue of no platforming is not one that we will let die. The critics of this evening seem to be missing a critical point, however, that this is a debate, not an individual speaker address of anyone you see in front of you. So stand up, speak up, quiz me, quiz Harry, hold to account anyone you see at the front of these benches this evening. This is the Oxford Union, and there is no better forum for discussion than this very chamber. When you walk out the door tonight supporting aye or no, you, the members, are telling us, your committee, how you want to see the union act in future, the kind of speakers you believe should be invited, and where you stand on this topical issue. A resounding consensus and support of no platforming will far more effectively convey what you do not find acceptable than boycotting and not showing up at all. As it was originally devised, the principle of no platforming meant preventing violent and organised racist groups and speakers from appearing on university campuses. The principle of no platforming has grown to include sexists, right-wing MPs, transphobes, and radical feminists. The widening of the scope for no platforming has led to controversy, and I'm going to offer 3 rationales behind the principle. 1, that it does not have to hinder free speech. 2, the concept of higher evidence. And 3, that there is nothing wrong with being a snowflake. Firstly, however, the great pleasure falls on me to introduce the opposition speakers in tonight's debate. First up, we have Harry Deakin, a first-year economics and management student at Pembroke College and the 4th elected member of the Secretaries Committee. Harry's a hard-working and popular member of committee, and until recently, I was looking forward to debating against him. However, having bumped into Harry at a college ball over the weekend, I proceeded to explain to my friends afterwards who he was, to which they had the cheek to say, "Oh my God, Celeste, he's so hot. We're definitely going to come to the debate now." So in this pivotal moment of my university career, my best friends are here to see you, Harry, rather than support me. Following Harry, we have Katie Hopkins, media personality, businesswoman, columnist. Controversial and outspoken, I am keen to hear how your speech will unfold this evening. I have seen comments on the internet where it is suggested that people will walk out as a result of Katie's invitation here tonight. Now, perhaps selfishly, I have spent 3 days writing this speech and been waiting a long time for this opportunity. So if you could wait maybe another 8 minutes before commencing your walkouts, that would be greatly appreciated. When the time comes for Katie to speak, I hope you will take advantage of making points of information should you wish. However, based on her last appearance here at the Oxford Union, if you're wearing an ugly outfit or your name is Brian Wong, I would suggest you sit it out. Once we have heard from Katie, we will hear from Toby Young, former director of the New Schools Network. Toby is currently working as the London Associate Editor of Quillette. Toby is also the author of the best-selling memoir, How to Lose Friends and Alienate People. If anyone's looking for tips, I can safely say from experience that spontaneously becoming a union hack in the second term of your second year is a surefire way to do so. And finally, closing the case for the opposition, we will hear from Anne Widdecombe. A former Conservative MP, she now serves as a Privy Councillor. I first became aware of Anne Widdecombe as a 10-year-old watching Strictly Come Dancing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you cannot support the no platforming of controversial views, perhaps you can get on board with the concept of no platforming politicians who attempt to pass a Dobly. Madam President, these are your guests and they are most welcome. The topic of no platforming has come up intermittently in the student movement over the last few years. It is a tactic used to deny political opponents a speaking platform, either by appealing to universities or student unions to ban them from speaking, or by organising disruptive, direct action to prevent speaking engagements. Recently, right-wingers have said that the no platforming of far-right speakers proves the left is anti-free speech. To this, I say free speech is an entirely abstract concept. The idea that every group in society has the right to speak freely is untrue. There are all sorts of constraints on the freedom of information and speech. On paper, we all have the right to free speech, but we are not interested in this false abstract of free speech that exists only on paper. We are fighting for real, tangible freedom for the vast majority of people, and this must come with a degree of sensitivity. No, thank you. The right to freedom of speech means that the government cannot arrest you for what you say. It doesn't mean that anyone else has to listen to your absolute tripe and host you while you share it. If you're yelled at, boycotted, have your show cancelled, or get banned from an internet community, your free speech rights are not being violated. It's just that people listening think that you're rude and are showing you the door. Now, this debate cannot be framed in black and white. It is about free speech, yes, but it is not proponents of free speech versus opponents. There are a multitude of layers in between. Neil Levy, a senior research fellow here at Oxford, talks about the balance between first order and higher order evidence. When an invitation is extended to a speaker to attend a university event, we can consider this higher order evidence. Because when we invite someone to speak, when we choose them out of a wide pool of others, we are saying that they are the one who should have this platform over anyone else. Here at the Oxford Union, we give credibility to speakers because A, we choose to host them, and B, the prestige of the institution supports them. The point that I am making here is that we cannot rebut this higher order evidence. Once an invitation has been extended and a speaker has attended, the damage is done. No platforming is the only solution to not producing this damning higher order evidence. No platforming does not revoke the fact, no platforming would be the only option to revoke the fact that we invited Steve Bannon, Marie Le Pen, and Tommy Robinson. Providing a platform to them will produce at least some evidence in favour of their views, of any speaker's views, that is both difficult to rebut and impossible to rebut by arguing back. This alone may be sufficient to justify refusing to provide speakers with a platform at all. Now I want to talk about snowflakes. We could ignorantly simplify this debate into snowflakes versus trolls. With that in mind, I decided to channel the snowflake aesthetic in tonight's outfit. I would like to say that Harry did the same thing and is channeling his inner troll, but unfortunately, that's how his face always looks. Growing up, I can recall really cringe quotes about snowflakes, about individuality, everyone being beautiful but different. I don't remember exactly when I began to understand it had a negative connotation. Nowadays, Generation Snowflake is used to put down sensitive millennials, described as the generation of people who became adults in the 2010s, viewed as being less resilient and more prone to taking offence than previous generations. First of all, standing up to injustice is absolutely okay. It isn't because your feelings are easily hurt or you're just a whiny millennial. It is because you know the difference between right and wrong and you are not afraid to stand up for it. When a generation of young people speaks up to say that they find something unacceptable, that they disagree with a platform being offered, you can simply whack on the plaster term of snowflake and destroy their integrity. In 2019, you cannot call someone a scrounger or a good-for-nothing, as you cannot claim that being poor or unemployed is a congenial lifestyle choice. But we can claim instead that certain people, young people primarily, need to become better at enduring this different kind of hardship. Hearing views you do not like and building resilience are supposed to go hand in hand. The suggestion that young people are uniquely intolerant or self-indulgent. The suggestion that Oxford Union members are hypersensitive because they do not want this institution to host racists and fascists and xenophobes is an excellent way of distracting from the bigger problem. It puts the blame back onto a generation, Generation Snowflake, who are already suffering in this economic and political climate. Student mental health is deteriorating, and this concept that those who support no platforming are weak further solidifies the idea that there is something wrong with young people and not the environment around us. There is nothing wrong with being a snowflake. In certain circumstances, there is nothing wrong with no platforming. And if the Oxford Union continues to ignore a few snowflakes, at some point down the line, it will be faced with a whole blizzard. The Oxford community has previously been known to kick off at certain invitations, extended to speakers by the Oxford Union. This is symbolic of the fact that in 2019, some things are just no longer acceptable. It is time for us to more accurately estimate where the line should be drawn so that this can be a place for all our members. If you're tired of this constant cycle, then support the motion and show us that you want to see a change. Because 1, no platforming does not mean the death of free speech. 2, no amount of debate can revoke an invitation. And 3, aesthetically, I would rather be a snowflake than a troll, but fundamentally, I would too. Thank you.